There you go. Danny, feel free to start this out. My only agenda items really were to see folks. That's a cool dog. And then also just talk about CES and talk about the new lab stuff. I'm sure there are some questions around that. We also got some questions in comments on the blog post, and so we could try to address some of those as well.
Yeah, that sounds really good. And probably talking about CES is a great way to get this kicked off. We had Juan and Todd join us at the house, and they were big part in creating some cool stuff. I don't know, Todd, do you want to talk a little bit about the house and about the Jawbone?
Well, actually, I don't know. Well, the Bartendro took everything. I mean, that was just I still dream about it. Every time I have to manually make a drink, it upsets me. I don't have one here. But mainly the work that got through on the Jawbone was done by Juan. I mean, I had done some of the work to try to make a test unit that would push events. That way we can receive them on the UP24 once we got them. I tried to test that environment. But I think, Juan, I'm going to pass that to you because you did the work on that side.
Hello. Can you?
Hey. Oh, we might have just lost Juan.
I think so.
Or anyway, he's just really good at being still.
I'll go ahead and talk about. I'm sure most of the people on here saw the press that was done on the Jawbone Up, which was pretty cool. I mean, I really liked the waking up and pressing the I'm awake button and have the house come alive and then carry that story on to the opening of the cabinet and seeing the motion detector there, which kicked off even more things coming up and waking you up and having the news read to you by the Sonos that our friend here in the picture, Danny, I'm sure did a lot of work on, and which turned out great. That was, and you see the buzz on the Hue and the Sonos that's going on in the lab and on the forums right now. It's just awesome. But I really liked how the story this year was bringing that context of how the house came to you, and instead of you just commanding the house, that it was there for you, that it listened to you and then also informed you of information and things. So, but anyway, it's really cool.
Nice. And I guess for those who don't know, SmartThings got a big house just off the strip in Vegas for CES, and the approach was to turn it into a great demo location, in addition to actually housing the SmartThings team while we were demoing at the show. And I think, Ben, actually, did you find the house?
I did, yeah. It wasn't as close as I would have liked, but it was enough. It was good enough for us. It was, the owner was very accommodating. Most of the other people were very leery about having us install a whole bunch of new stuff. So it worked out that he was like totally fine with it, and we left a lot of that stuff in the house, so it's like a value add for him.
How many total devices did we install?
I heard something like between 110 and 130 or something. I don't even know.
Yeah, it was a huge number of light switches. The house was just massive, and real estate in Vegas is a good value. That's what I came away with.
Yeah.
A big success, and it was really neat to have people constantly coming through and being able to showcase it. Oh, and Juan's back, so now we can talk about the hit of our open house, Bartendro. Juan, take it away.
Yeah, well, Bartender was fun. Like, it was a nice way of mixing some drinks without having to do it manually. Although I was there, like, pouring drinks and drinks, so it was almost the same if I had been there just making them. But it
pushing
was nice.
the button in the app.
Yeah, but I was there standing for a couple of hours just pushing the button, which it was fun, and everyone was very impressed. It's all went like we finished all the podcast, so that means that it was a success. That I that much success in a party before. So I think it was good. It was fun.
I take it that you don't get tipped if you're pouring with the bartender.
Yeah, no, of course. It's only like tapping the phone, but
So tell us about how you made it and sort of the background of how you came across the bartender.
okay, so I found Bartendro in Kickstarter. So I banked them and I had it in my basement for a long time. I never had the opportunity to pull it out in a party. So I think this was a perfect opportunity. Home automation and a robot bartender. It was like the perfect match. So it was a great idea just to bring it to the house.
Nice.
So
nice.
basically, after that, it was trying to find a way where I could get this. It runs on a Raspberry Pi, so the challenge was to find a way where it can communicate with SmartThings Cloud to actually trigger it from SmartThings.
Cool. And so we didn't actually set it up to have any automation. So really it was just being triggered in the app. Do you have any ideas for how you might automate it in the future?
Well, one of the options is, for example, pouring orange juice in the morning. As soon as you walk into a kitchen, you turn on the Sonos and then you pour an orange juice next to your coffee maker.
And I guess actually we had 3 different drinks available at the house. I guess all of which would be good morning drinks.
I agree, especially if you're hungover.
So we had what do we have? Bloody Mary mix, or is that right?
Yeah, Bloody Marys, screwdrivers, and oranges. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know, Ermin, are you prepared to have one of these installed?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm prepared to have like 5 of them installed.
Bartender went up to 15 or 20, I forget.
Oh yeah, actually that'd be really interesting. So we only use 3 pumps.
Yeah.
It'd be really interesting to see, what other combinations you can come up with. We had a bunch of discussions about sort of which drinks to make, and Jeff just said he wanted screwdrivers and Bloody Marys.
Their Kickstarter campaign said, in general, depending on how many pumps you have, how many drinks you can make.
Yeah, it's true. And they have an ongoing forum in which they discuss which are the perfect combination, for example, for 7 pumps, that it was their meter on Bartender. And they have several combinations and which drinks you can get. So their database basically give you the drinks that you are able to do based on the bottles that you set up in the admin.
For automation for that, it would be cool to have maybe like a laser in there so it wouldn't pour if there's no cup on it. And then also maybe RFID so it could sense what size glass you are and then only present you with drinks that would make sense in a certain glass size. If you put a shot glass down, it's only going to pour a shot versus 8 ounces or a pint or whatever the case may be.
Like that.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea.
I really want to see a little
Could make
tray
it smarter than that. Let's make it smarter than that, Danny, and use Leap Motion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just use computer vision to tell the glass size.
Plastic glass over.
We can definitely do that.
Yeah.
I really want it to be able to pour you a whole tray of shots. So I want a little servo on a plate that'll click and pour.
I've seen those.
Yeah, they have one, and they did it with Bartender. Only for shots, but they do it.
Nice. When will we see them in a restaurant? That just seems like the perfect idea. We gotta find somebody who has one and test it out. I think that would be really cool. Have a SmartThings trip to the bar. Ben, maybe we can talk Jack Rose into doing it.
Yes.
Hey, Eric, welcome.
Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
How's it going?
Oh, this is cool. This is the first time I've used this Blue Jeans thing.
Yeah, it's got a terrible name, but it's a good system, it seems like.
I like
Yeah,
the
was
name.
looking
I think the
at it
name's
earlier.
cool.
I was kind of researching it, and I was like, damn, I might use it for my own company.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite
we
part
just-
is if you're on mute. If you're on mute, you can just stay on mute and only unmute by holding the space bar. Kind of like push to talk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just noticed that. I was just like, I muted myself the first time I joined this, and I was like, oh shit, I hope I'm not broadcasting. And then I looked at the tooltip, and it was like hold spacebar, and I was like, oh great.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So I joined a little late because you guys are on the East Coast, and I'm over here in Arizona.
Hey, we're in Arizona.
Who's in Arizona?
You said you're in Arizona.
Yeah, I'm in Arizona. Is someone else in Arizona?
No, but I'm from Arizona.
Who's
Oh,
on
okay,
first?
He said where in Arizona?
Yeah, we're in Arizona.
I'm in Maricopa City right now, but I'm in Phoenix a lot. So
I'm from Tucson.
okay, cool. So you're not too far from me, or where you were too far from me.
Now I am, and it was cold. Minneapolis declared snow emergency today, so I had to move my car every day, and it was just covered in snow. I finally brushed it all off right before this.
And we had a beautiful high of about 87 degrees today.
Oh, he misses it. So Eric, tell us about your smart things.
Okay, so I should say this right now. This is the first time that I've joined any of the Hangout sessions. So I'm not really new, but I've been following Smart Things for a long time.
Was it because of the time change?
Yeah, absolutely. But
Right.
I'll tell you a little bit about me and I'm the owner of a company called Smart Maricopa, and we work as kind of like IT consultants in a lot of different areas, and a lot of that, some of what we do is home automation, and so we fully represent Smart Things, and we say that Smart Things is the best company with a vision right now for home automation.
Nice.
So
We
I've never
appreciate that.
actually even spoken with anybody with Smart Things about how they would feel about that. But it was on the to-do list basically. But what we do is when we recommend products and services, I fully believe in where Smart Things is going as a company and stuff. So what we try to do is we try to showcase what you guys are really putting out there and how you can connect everything together with a lot of different brain names. So we kind of offer support and services in consultation for that.
All right.
So have you done house installs?
Oh yeah, absolutely. In fact, just this last week, we've been using Pebble to interface with Smart Things through your smartphone, Android smartphone, with Tasker. So we've been setting that up for people who are interested.
Very cool. Did you see the video that we just posted about Pebble?
No, I haven't actually. I just jumped on right now. I was the first thing I looked at the time. I looked at it was 6 p.m. over here, so I just jumped right on this meeting.
Yeah, the blog. I think a blog post today, this morning, was about the Pebble, rudimentary Pebble integration that one of our developers did. Basically pressing the button on the Pebble, turning on and off a light, that sort of thing. We actually want to, improve the the integration between the two products. There was some thought that we could try to do that in the next couple of weeks as Pebble's doing this big launch, but it looks like we're going to work towards a later February, bigger push with them. But yeah, I mean, right now it's a lot of developers, a lot of independent developers just hacking that stuff together. It sounds like you guys are doing that too.
Well, one of the things that we looked at is when we were looking at CES and Pebble announced that they were going to be connecting iControl with Pebble as kind of like a go-to app that they're going to be working with themselves. And I was kind of thinking about oh man, I hope the guys at Smart Things are already on top of this.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how many Pebbles we have in the company. At least half a dozen people are wearing them. Ermin, you were wearing one for a while.
Yeah, I have one here, and I usually wear it every day, but I'm trying out this new Martian watch. Bluetooth.
Oh, yeah.
I got the only one left for me to hack on is the girls' version, so I get made fun of that for a lot.
Getting comments on the street?
Yeah, I do. Like, hey, is it a girls' watch? I'm like, yeah, come at me.
I've done a little bit of work with the Gear, and of course Samsung announcing that they're going to be doing their home smart home connected with all the Samsung you know devices without their within the house. And I was thinking like, okay, great, I should probably spend a little bit of time working with the Gear now. So I went and got a Gear at half off or something for in the last week or two. So I've been looking at that, and I'm really interested in seeing how the Gear works, because they're already announcing that the next Gear is going to be coming out with the Galaxy S5. So it's probably going to have I'm not sure if it's going to have a camera, but it's pretty cool that it has the microphone built in. So that's one thing that the Gear has over the Pebble, is that we can work with reactive Tasker environments where we can control smart things with the Gear as a reactive. So when something happens, it can notify you on the Gear, and you can then speak a voice activated command into the Gear, and then it can then react with that through smart things.
Very cool.
Does Tasker have like official plugins?
You kind of broke up there. What was that?
Does Tasker have like official plugins or integrations? I haven't really done much work with Tasker, but it seems like people talk about it and it seems super powerful. So.
Oh, I mean, yeah, Tasker is like, I can do anything with Tasker. Anything that's Android operating system, we can tie right into SmartThings easily. And it would be great if SmartThings were to have that develop that official plugin, from the coding standpoint, it would be great. But we kind of like, me, myself, I shouldn't say we, it's just me right now kind of working on this. I just do it, manually. So I kind of just tie it in there through using the rest. But if you can get into Tasker at all, you can kind of program like the most ultimate kind of smart home application you'd ever want. It only takes about a couple hours of programming when you're talking with a client, and then they kind of they can talk with you about that, and you can just kind of put it together as long as you have an Android operating system tablet or smartphone.
People have been automating their homes with Tasker for years. It's been very powerful.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, Eric, what are your favorite things to show a client, or what do you get asked for the most from clients for Tasker features? Did that come through?
Honestly, it's being able to, like, you guys just came out with it, SmartThings. You guys just got the Sonos tied in, and that's amazing. And as soon as I got access to Sonos, I was looking at it, and I was really interested to hear how the girl would sound, because I knew it was going to be a girl and all that. And I was kind of disappointed because you guys didn't launch with more like customizability of showing like, I want to know if a door opens, what door opens. I want to be able to customize that through the application, and I want to know, like, I want to be able to change. I want to have customizability in a lot of different things. And I realized that you guys just kind of like launched that right away, and it was great. I was really excited because I love Sonos, and I think that's the future for like home audio video equipment. Is Sonos is like right on top of that. I mean, I listen to radio stations in the Philippines right now because my fiance is from the Philippines, so I can do that through Sonos and their application. But one of the things I do with Tasker is that I can customize what the client wants and what kind of what do they want their home audio system, smart home, to sound like. So I can give a British accent, I can give a Australian accent, I can give an American accent, and I can put that into their system, and I can program it up for them. And I can even have it like remotely, I can program their system to replace specific words if their Avana voice doesn't work very well. I can do a lot of different things with Tasker.
Nice. Actually, and I'm sure that we will get there on customizing additional features in the voice. The one that we put out was definitely to kind of maximize reliability. But in some of the betas, we're showing a lot more functionality that I hope will get into your hands soon.
Oh no, you guys are doing a great job. Like if you ever look at my Facebook page, you probably see within every week, I pretty much share every post that Smart Things shares out there. So I don't know if you guys noticed it yet or not.
I have, yeah. That's it. That's how I heard about you guys.
Couldn't you customize the Sonos to play an MP3, so you could kind of put your own MP3s in there, like the front door is open, the garage door is open, and then have it activate that specific MP3, using an open close sensor.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I really
It's a workaround. It's not,
I wanted to ask you guys, I wanted to talk with you guys, like, how do you feel about that? Like, how do you feel about, like, companies like mine going out there and trying to utilize Smart Things for our solutions?
So first, I'll say that you're not alone, Eric. I think there's a few other people, even on this call, that would like to sort of leverage Smart Things as a platform to, use in their businesses. I think we have done a not stellar job of helping that happen. We haven't been fast enough, as fast as we would like to be, in supporting those kind of efforts. But I think we're very interested in them, and we want to support those efforts going forward. I'm really interested in people's perspectives on what would be the most important things. If you were to prioritize, what would be the first things you would want us to do as an organization to support that kind of an effort? Keeping in mind that there's we have a backlog that's like very deep. We want to segment it a little bit so we can support external stuff and external developers. We also need to make sure that the platform is stable and very reliable, and that's been an issue as of late, and we're totally addressing that. So I would say in the coming weeks, I know I am going to be like looking to you guys to say, okay, what is it that you would want the most? Give me your top 5, and I'll see what we can do to like get those in the backlog and start working on them.
That would be great, man. Like honestly, I'd like to be really included on what you have your plans on and how it's going to go forward and stuff. I'd really like it if you would include me on that.
All right.
That's cool. And so we, in our conversation, we started talking about Sonos. It's probably a good time to talk about our labs initiative a little bit. Ermin, is that something you want to cover?
Sure. So Smart Things Labs, we have all the press releases and stuff like that. But basically, what it comes down to is like early cut, not exactly betas, but early cut of brand new device integrations. Kind of where we're spearheading all of our open platform type of ideas, like the Jawbone, the Sonos, the Hue, Wemo, and a bunch of other devices that are coming up. So expect to see a lot of new devices there, not just made by us, but we just started this whole core team that Todd and Juan are a part of, where they wrote the Jawbone integration that you're going to be able to use. So as we include more people into the the core developers, as we expand that, you're going to start seeing a lot more new devices that are not made by us, and then you probably won't even connect through your hub, but they'll just be a cloud to cloud type connection, or one of the new LAN connections that I know a lot of people want to hear more about, but we can talk about that more in depth later. But the lab is going to be super fun. It's going to be super excited. It's really cool to see how different makers of these devices, how devices will interact without ways that you could even think about it. So like when Jawbone made the Jawbone and Withings made their Scale, it's just cool that you could use those together, and that the community can come up with crazy things like that.
Nice. And so,
Heaven? I heard someone talking.
I think that was just background noise.
I like.
All right, so
go for it.
No, I was just waiting for someone to stop me. So
I was just gonna say the Sonos stuff's really cool. I liked it, but the thing I don't like about Sonos is that it's one way. And I think Ubi's been shipping their stuff out now, so I just got that, and that's really cool. It's not as amazing as I wish it was, but it's first gen, so it is what it is. It picks up almost anytime anything like okay is spoken in the house almost. But what I like is that it has potential for that two-way communication with the system. I don't know how far integrated it is. I haven't really seen too much on that. The CES stuff was basically just using it as an Ubi, answering questions and not really integrating with the house. Although Ubi itself has sent out some videos with it integrating with SmartThings. But it'd be cool if there was just because Sonos is so clear and it looks like you've developed Sonos to string together more information than one thing at a time. It can string together, the lights are on, the coffee machine started, and blah 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 blah, whatever the case is. If there was a microphone that you could place around the house that was connected to a central computer, so that you didn't need a mic, and computer in each room. It would just be more the microphone sending that information to a third, a second computer somewhere, a centralized computer rather, for the Sonos. 'Cause I've never found Sonos. I never wanted a Sonos personally until I saw that video, and I thought that's really cool. Before that, Sonos just never did anything. I have, centralized music in the house already through different systems, and Sonos never seemed to do anything that the rest of it didn't. So seeing it with SmartThings, though, made me want to go pull out my wallet.
So, I want to break that up a little bit, Kate, if you don't mind. So Oh yeah, go for it.
No, I was saying just answer.
Oh, one question. Oh, okay, because you talked about Ubi a little bit too, you didn't really get to see the integrations with SmartThings at CES, which is unfortunate, but they very much so exist. Do you happen to have the SmartThings access from Ubi yet?
No.
Okay, so I can get that for you from them. Okay. So one of the things we're working on before a larger launch is integration with our brand new Hello Home, with phrases automatically being inserted to your Ubi platform. So you don't have to go add each one. So something like all the phrases by default, and when you add them, they'll automatically be added to the Ubi thing. So you can say, okay, Ubi, goodbye, or something like that. They're super cool. They're really into SmartThings. They really want to launch this, and you're right. It is a first rev of the device, and it's a cool. I had a opportunity to tinker around on the back end of it, and it's a full Android device, which is super neat.
It has HDMI. You can plug it into a TV if you open it up.
Yeah, well, it's got yours has HDMI. You said?
I have never opened mine up. I just had it I got it when I got back from vacation, and I plugged it in. I used it a few times. I haven't played with it too much. But one of the videos that they did a few months ago, I guess, it has some kind of HDMI output when you open it up. I think it's HDMI. It could be a mini or something like that, and you can plug it into the TV and have visual Android.
Yeah, so it's neat, and there's also a USB thing that you can expand on later. Again, they're really early. They're early on in their development cycle, and I expect a lot of coolness from them because there really is a computer in each room. But to your credit, you already have centralized music everywhere, so you can get if you wanted to add a Sonos, you don't have to get the entire thing. You can just get a Sonos Connect or whatever it's called that you can just plug into your amp. It's just a different input, and all of a sudden it works with everything.
If I'm using that amp, I was thinking about doing that, but if I'm using that amp to watch TV or movies or games or whatever, it's not going to cut in with the Sonos. It'd have to be on that input. So to leave that, amp on all the time.
True. No, that's very true.
But the Sonos 1 and 3 are not terribly expensive. They're kind of bulky though. And I feel like leaving them around just for that, I'd rather get a bunch of, for $300, And I don't think the Ubi's worth $300 right now. I mean, I got it at the Kickstarter price, but for $300, I'd rather get a bunch of Ubis and have the announcements come through that, and be able to speak back to the system rather than just have something telling me, making announcements for $300 that I never really used beyond that.
Right. Actually, the Play Ones are super tiny, and they're really cool. But that's beside the point. Like, also with the amp thing, there's a Sonos Connect amp that if you wanted to use theirs, but that gets pricey. Anyway, that's too drilled in. But there's a lot of cool opportunities with the Ubi. Voice announcements is one of them that's going to come up, and a lot of interplay. It's really cool because it was one of the easiest integrations I think we've done so far. It's just like they took our generic web services app and plugged it in, and that was it. And then now we have the opportunity to expand phrases, which is super important. The Hello Home phrases is a giant one for us. It's and especially because you can configure actions for each phrase now, where you don't have to do that with a smart up for each action. You can just do when I do watch movie mode, dim these lights, do this, do that. I think that's really cool because that's something that came up with our Pebble integration that we were thinking about. Instead of having individual control of each switch from a Pebble, which if I think about it, in my opinion, it's not valuable to have. Say you have 80 switches. Are you going to really want to scroll through all of those on a Pebble to get to the switch you want? Or do you just want to call a phrase, lock the house, shut down, or I'm goodbye, or something like that from a Pebble? So you, instead of having, 80 or something, or 60 or 50 or 30, even 20 devices that you have to scroll through to get what you want done, I think there's a lot more value in adding all of that to a phrase.
I think that's
which is technically a group of actions.
The Galaxy Gear out, the Pebble's cool, but I think the problem with a lot of Kickstarter stuff, and which is not the case with SmartThings, is that by the time they get their act together and get the product out, it's almost outdated. The Galaxy Gear, while it's not that intelligent, it's connected to your phone, which is extremely intelligent and can be updated and stuff. So when you talk about scrolling through your Pebble to control 80 lights, well, on the Galaxy Gear you could just talk to your watch basically and tell it to turn off the hallway light or a specific light rather than scrolling through on a 1-inch by 1-inch screen.
Yeah, that's one of the things that when we're working with it over at Smart Maricopa, we're working with wearable technologies. We want to make sure that we can utilize smartwatches so that they can control home automation for their home and security and things like that. So one of the first things I realized is that it's going to be extremely soon that new iterations of like the Intel, they've got their market share. We've got Samsung, we've got Pebble, we've got just a lot of different markets of emerging smartwatches that are coming out really soon. You really have to go with the ones, and you really want to spend your time developing with the ones that are going to be kind of like understanding the entire vision of how we can connect with everything, including SmartThings and Android, especially now that Google purchased Nest is another good example. That's kind of going to be what's going to be going on. So with one of the things that I've been working with is why I could just easily, quickly choose Pebble over working with Gear and Samsung right now, at least for the time being, is that it's already got that extra connectivity with Tasker and stuff, so we could do that.
Yeah, really nice. I had a funny experience with Ubi and Ermin in Vegas, in which I spent a lot of time just asking it to play Katy Perry music. Which it obliges, but then I really got into the habit of walking up to Ermin, and whenever you activate Ubi, you go, "Okay, Ubi," and then it beeps at you. So I would just walk up to Ermin and go, "Okay, Ermin." He's very responsive. So
that is responsive.
Were you are you able to change the name of what the Ubi responds to? I can't remember if we got that to work.
That's their plan.
Yeah.
So I actually, they came by the house. We had a house and we meetings in and out, and I met with them, and they did a good point that they're eventually going to be able to change it, but they're going to have some suggestions on what you should change, because there you could choose a phrase that sounds exactly like another phrase, like linguistically, that might come up a lot in conversations. Which like okay, Ubi is definitely something that you say okay a lot and then pause or something similar to that. So it happens. You get a lot of false positives from it. So that's the only thing that they're worried about. But yeah, they told me that eventually you will be able to change it. Like okay, smart things. That's what we want, obviously. Danny wants okay, Ermin, which I don't know why you want that, because if you ask me for something, it's just not going to get done.
They're
but like back to the world.
They're Canadian. It's from we know what Canadians do with technology companies.
Wait, what? Something happened to my screen. It says you.
Sorry, I was testing out the.
Okay, we got some video about to start.
Make me a Bloody Mary.
On that extra line just for you.
All right. Did you see? Did anybody see anything?
Could you guys see it?
I totally saw
that was a word from my
guys,
sponsors.
Yeah,
one thing I want to ask you guys: have you guys seen the latest movie? Have you guys seen Her?
No.
Some of us have, some of us hasn't.
Okay, well, I would really recommend that everybody go and watch the movie Her and kind of understand exactly how he interacts with that OS. I know it's completely, fantasy and stuff from this movie, but it actually gives a lot of, like, think about it like this. I grew up watching Star Trek, and when I was watching Her, I was kind of like, they get it. They really get it. They really get the interaction with the computer, with the OS.
Like, we're just years away from being able to sleep with our computers.
Yeah, well, like, we need to keep things seamless. We don't want to, like, why are we looking at saying, okay, why are we looking at, like, kind of like, catch as a phrase to activate listening now? Why are we just not looking at, like, something that's seamless, saying, okay, why don't we walk into a room and say, lights? And that's all we need.
Well, Eric, you've with all the work that you've done on it, and I think Danny probably learned a lot with his Sonos, the text to speech and the interaction and the timing, it's tough to get down at first to get your, those switches or the triggers to go when you think things should happen. There's those phrases or even the space between words. It's a little bit of a trick to learn which device does what exactly how. I mean, one of the things I learned using Tasker is I'd wake up in the morning and the darn thing updated the linguistics overnight. And so now instead of having a British butler, I had some little cricket bird chick talking to me in the morning. It was, it was funny what I learned on the text to speech using Tasker and things like that.
I kind of like the way SmartThings looks at it better anyway. Instead of walking into a room and saying lights, I prefer to walk in the room and the room knows what I want. And that's kind of what I feel like SmartThings is going towards. And then if I want to customize things on the fly, I don't mind saying, which lights or what percentage of dimming, that kind of stuff gives it more gives it more customizability than walking in and saying lights. When I walk into a room, certain rooms I have, depending on the hour when I walk into them, motion or using a door, multi-sensor, it will turn on the lights.
One of the most important things I've done working for customers when we install like home automation systems to their home is that obviously we don't want to have to go with a system where they have to interact in any way, where it knows that if it's dark out in some sense, that if there's motions, just turn on the lights. It's simple as that. We want to keep it as simple as possible in every sense. But some of the coolest things that we've been working with is that using like a FOSCAM type of camera, something that you can get on Amazon for about $45, which is about as cheap as you can get the motion sensors, SmartSense like motion sensors and things like that. You can also get a camera that would do the same thing, that will send a activity command through SmartThings, letting them know that we've sensed motion just by using their home laptop or Windows computer or something, which pretty much every client has. So we can set that up for them, and we can substitute a infrared motion sensor for an actual camera that will not only detect movement running 24/7, but will also record that movement and record that image and send it to them in their smartphone and things like that. And we want to be able to like find different ways we can connect that with. Well,
So where are we going with labs? What's the greatest thing you see coming first?
Ooh, the first one, like the first big one. I don't know. It's a tough question because a lot of big stuff is coming and a lot of small things are coming. My latest thing, especially coming fresh off CES, is the wearables. Hold on, let me grab that real quick. Wait, who's got a real phone?
I don't know if I told you. This is crazy. I ordered my utility company. I asked them to put in some automatic propane tank reading equipment, and they came out here and brought all the devices. And the day they were ready to hook it up, they drive into my driveway, and then he says, "Okay, what's your phone number?" I go, "My home phone or my cell phone?" "I don't have a home phone." He goes, "Well, we can't do this because you have to have an analog phone line for all of that to work." So it's amazing. I got shut down before they even started, not having an analog phone line.
Wow.
I have to use it for faxes. It's voice over IP, but I use it for faxes for the most part.
Well, I have a home IPBX. It's all digital.
So Derek has a question that he put in the chat. I wanted to throw it out there. You can also read it. There's a use case that he puts in there, but read the chat. But his question is, can I create a smart apps that are phone specific but under the same account? For example, I want to have one phone receive a notification if motion is sensed but not another. That is not actually, that use case specifically isn't even a smart app. You can set up notifications with SMS if you want to do phone by phone. I don't know if push notifications you can do that. Danny or Ermin?
Well, that is a smart app. So actually, everything you see is a smart app. Anything you see in the dashboard, let me pull it up the dashboard real quick.
Smart ass. I think like it's confusing the matter when you want to talk about all the dashboards as smart apps. I know they're all written as smart apps, and eventually anyone who wants to write it.
It's not confusing because they are smart apps.
Yeah.
So each one of these, the home and family and all that stuff, each one of those modules is a smart app in every sense of the word. Ben, they are absolutely smart apps. So the reason they're smart apps is because you can install one and write your own. So like someone like Eric, if you had customers that you wanted to have like a custom touch point with, you could have a custom Smart Maricopa dashboard that you could write.
No, but I will definitely do the text message. Like if I want to get a notification and not send it to my wife, I will do a text message.
What if you can't do that? What if so he's asking, he's got actually a Wi-Fi only phone right now, and so he's wondering if there's a way to send it just to that.
Well, guys, I want to keep things as simple as possible. Think about it like this. I'm really a forward-thinking company, and I want to make sure that everything that I go with, what all of development and in progress that I put in forward, it's going to be something that's going to be compatible with connectivity in the future. So I want to know that when Samsung comes out in the next few months and they start releasing their home Samsung smart home, lineup of technologies, I want to know that SmartThings is going to be compatible with internetworking with that.
Well, I mean, that's really up to Samsung. And from what it sounds like right now, from what we saw at CES, it's only going to be a Samsung-only platform.
Yep,
and I'm not sure.
There's other stuff now on Samsung.
Oh, well then yes.
That's going to be a problem from my perspective. That's going to be an issue that if we've got a lot of consumers buying Samsung appliances and they want to connect their refrigerator and their range through the internet for whatever reasons, they start buying these products, but they're only compatible with their Samsung smart home products, and smart things can't connect with that. That's going to be the turning point with me, that I'm going to have to decide from my business perspective where I'm going to have to go with and trying to support more of. Like, am I going to deal it more with smart things working with like Pebble and stuff, or am I going to work with more with the gear and Samsung's gear?
Sure. Actually, if I'm taking this, I believe I'm correct in saying this, that their big announcement of the show for home automation was that they are going to open up their connected devices to things that aren't just Samsung based. I don't believe that they've actually made that move, but I think that that's a really big announcement. And as long as they're open, it's something that we'll be looking to bring into the smart things connectivity. I think that answers the question, right, Ermin? Is that about right?
Yeah. So I mean, if they're open, we'll jump on it. Like, that's how we work. But I mean, to be fair, you're gonna see some proprietary system that customers have bought, and there's just nothing you can do. And if a customer wants to buy, like, say there's another company like that wasn't Samsung, and company wanted to only do company stuff, it's hard to expect a customer to, they bought like a Samsung refrigerator. You're not gonna go ask them to buy a Samsung washer, a Samsung dryer, a Samsung water filter, a Samsung like heating machine or whatever, just because it's a proprietary thing. And that's a tough standpoint. So it was lucky for us that Nest is opening up their platform, which is fantastic. It's great that Google acquired them, because Google typically has an open standpoint on most of their stuff. So they're gonna, they open up the APIs. We applied for them. We're gonna grab them, and we're gonna have an official thing. But like, it's hard to say. If a company doesn't want to open up their stuff, there's not much we can do about it, especially from a legal standpoint.
Honestly, I get you guys. And like, from what articles I read, honestly, Samsung, I read the same things to say they were going to keep things very open. It was going to be very open with the whole Samsung lineup, the smartphone.
Yeah, it's great, because I mean, not to toot our own horn, but companies like us, and similar companies that are pushing the open platform kind of pressure these other guys into doing it as well, because they also don't expect someone to transform their entire home with just one branded proprietary things anymore.
Yeah, nobody has 50K laying around just to put one kind of proprietary communications in there.
Well, that's how previous home automations were like 100+K.
Yeah.
Depending on how, and it was proprietary. It still is. Those companies are still around. I don't even understand what they're going to do in like 5 years.
Yeah, now you got a $100 tablet running, $25 to $50 per device, and you can do it for a few $1,000 and have the whole house done.
It's crazy. So I know.
So, like, actually, our house. Sorry, go ahead, Kate.
I was just gonna. I stepped out of the room for a second, so But Todd, before I left, you guys were talking about labs, and I was just going to ask before what companies you guys are working with that we may not know you're working with that are cool, that you think are cool, that are doing anything cool.
Quiet.
I don't know. It's a tough question.
I think we'll see a lot of stuff coming off of the back of CES. I think things that we aren't currently working with, but we've reached out to and are starting to, get devices in for. So there's a lock company that I'm pretty excited about. I'm spacing on the name. It was in the Z-Wave Pavilion. We talked to them. No, we talked to them last year, and they actually have a lock that looks a lot like the August lock, except smaller. And I like their form factor a bit better. Yeah, Dana Lock. So we're gonna get some of their devices. They're hot to integrate. A number of people came up to me in the Z-Wave Pavilion when we were there and said our customers are sort of demanding that we support SmartThings, or we work with SmartThings. And so out of that, there's a camera, a Z-Wave controller with a camera called Piper. I think that one could be one that is interesting. It's a decent camera in that you can put one in a big room, and it can see the whole room, and it can actually use the software to divide the views into 4 if you want. And it's very interesting to us just because of the Z-Wave connection, and we've actually talked a little bit about even doing something like just making their camera, a hub, for example. So there's a lot of things that we could do in the future that aren't in labs right now, but that's the kind of stuff that would be in labs. I think CES was sort of a forcing function for us, to be quite honest, with labs. We wanted to get it out there. A few of the integrations obviously were rough around the edges. If you've used the Sonos one, I'm using it right now. I can't uninstall it, so there's a rough around the edge. But there are still some things that we have to work through. But we're a company that's like that. We tend to really strive to get something in place quickly and then iterate upon it. And so we want to get something that's good and then keep iterating on it until it's better and better.
So 2 quick questions. One's more technical, one's just the Dana is that the one where it looks like the August, but it also has on the front of the door like a digital readout that says welcome home, blah blah blah, your name and other stuff. Is that the one?
I don't know if that's that one.
Wrong. So I would say bye now, and so we will have a Ubi and Bartender integration.
All right.
The other question is the Z-Wave versus Zigbee. I know a lot of people use Zigbee for a lot of stuff. Z-Wave is used more often, it seems like, but Zigbee has a longer range, and from my understanding, is as light on power usage. So is it not able to give as much information, or why do more people tend to go with Z-Wave over Zigbee?
Anyone want to take that? I mean, I don't think that. I think that there's still a war sort of being fought between the two. I don't think that one of the standards is really dominant yet. I think that's
Zigbee for your own stuff, right? I mean,
yeah. And so part of the reason why we had both of those radios in is because the war isn't won, and part of the reason why we used Zigbee in most of our devices was because of the range, because we could amp up the power on those and get better range than Z-Wave. So that's the quick answer. Ermin, do you have a more technical answer?
I do, and I could talk about this for a long time. So if we wanted to end the office hours an hour, and I could just keep on going forever and ever. But each protocol has its trade-off, and if you want to get down to the hardware level, Zigbee is there's layers of the hardware and the application layer and stack. Zigbee starts at layer 4, which is very low, and it's an open protocol, which means it's got a really low barrier to entry. It's a little confusing to use, but it's got a low barrier to entry, which means anybody can get in on it. You can start with prototyping devices like the XV and get the hang of it. And it's really easy for startups, young companies that don't want to do things like Z-Wave, which certifies at layer 7, but is also a proprietary standard. It's a lockdown company that you have to certify against at some point in time, or else they'll cut off the chips for you. And that's good in a point where if you're a Z-Wave certified device, and you basically have a guarantee that your device will work with other certified Z-Wave controllers. So it's really a trade-off between the two of them. And like Ben said, the war is not won. I mean, there's something that says neither Zigbee nor Z-Wave will win the war. And since SmartThings hedges the bet on the platform rather than the individual protocol, we're not too worried about it. I think in the coming future, you're going to start seeing a lot more Zigbee devices because they are really good for battery-sensitive sensors. Some of the new devices that we're making are going to have a 2-year battery life with a CR2 battery, and that's going to be really fantastic. So it depends on the device. If you're doing something like a lock or a switch or something like that, then it's nice to go Z-Wave at first if you're not about, a platform. If you really want to just sell your devices to anybody, then it's cool to like have that guarantee that at least a Switch will have your guaranteed compatibility between devices. But I think a lot of cool, new, innovative devices you're going to start seeing on Zigbee because there's an open protocol on it, and you can do whatever you want. Like, I'm working with PlantLink right now, who's using Zigbee to do a really cool thing. They're grabbing information from their little sensors and then they're computing it in the cloud. So, which you wouldn't be able to do with Z-Wave because there's no, plant sensor type. So it's really cool to see things like that. So I think you're going to see a lot of new things out of Zigbee in the coming years. And that's my spiel.
Well, and I think like Ermin alluded to, neither of those might be the end all be all ultimately. I think as Wi-Fi chips continue to make progress in the power usage and meshing capabilities, which is something that I believe they're working on, I think we could see Wi-Fi become the standard. Right now, there's still the three issues with Wi-Fi is that they take up too much power, they don't mesh together well, and lastly, it's kind of a pain to pair things with Wi-Fi. We've seen some people do some interesting things with pairing, but by and large, still you have to join them to your networks a lot of times, and that requires either another device or some sort of flashing light or whatever it is.
There's a study done by high school kids with Wi-Fi, and they put plants in the room with the Wi-Fi router, like right next to it, and then like in another room, and the plants that were right next to the Wi-Fi router didn't grow.
Oh man.
Yeah, but I mean that's cool and all.
What were you going to say, Ben?
But, what does that mean, really?
It means that you're not going to grow anymore.
But then you start.
You're stunted.
Well,
that's what he's saying.
I mean, there could have been so many things. There could have been so many things that contributed to the plants not growing. Like, do they have a control plant in that room without Wi-Fi? Like, probably not. But anyway, that's besides the point. So, like on the Wi-Fi front, on the IP front, there's 6LoWPAN, which is IPv6 over low power frequency. So that's like their version of Zigbee that they're working on. That could take over everything in like 5 years. And then we'd have a SmartThings, 6LoWPAN hub. But it's really, I actually think it's easier to adapt at the hardware level because, the platform is really where the power is, and that's where you're going to see hardcore innovation. And that's why I really enjoy it. There are some concerns that we've been talking about that have come up, like I'm not going to get into until somebody asks me about it, so I have to talk about it. But latency is a big one that's come up, and reliability. And I think it's the more you see technology advance, especially in the internet layer of things, those concerns might go away a little bit. But that's really not my place to say what's going to win or not going to win. It's my place to say that I will adapt to whatever happens.
The smart plugs that originally shipped with the SmartThings, those are Z-Wave, correct?
Those are Zigbee.
Those are Zigbee?
Yeah.
The
Yes.
smart plugs?
Yeah, the smart and
The
IT.
smart power outlets, yeah.
Yeah.
When are is the metering going to work on those?
Soon.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I could put a test. Kate, if you want to test it, I have one that you can test right now.
I have two of them. I'm not really concerned about the power coming out of the wall though. But
It's a lot.
I have. Here's a question, Ermin. I have plant links coming. I have a bunch of them. I bought a couple of extras. I don't know why. I don't have any plants, but I thought it was cool. Kickstarter. But is there anything that I can do without plants with them? Or should I get some plants?
I would get some plants. I have one right here. Check this out. Here's my plant that I was just watering earlier. And I can't wait for PlantLink because my plant's dead. I forgot to water it.
I could imagine being on the
I think
help
it's really
line when you
cool.
call in. I can imagine being on the help desk when he calls in. Yeah, my plant links aren't working. I have no plants.
Right, and then
you could probably use them as like.
Well, what I'm worried about is we work really closely.
We lost you.
Do you have like grass or something? Like you could. I mean,
I'm on the 11th floor
you lost me?
penthouse of my building.
Damn, I'm coming over.
I can I can maybe put it in my neighbor's plants, and just just like ring their doorbell and be like, "You need to water your plants, bro."
Cade, there are what's called like apartment plants. Trust me, because I've been googling it just for my plant link. There are apartment plants that will like clean the air in your apartment or whatever. Go get them and stick a plant link in them.
Yeah, you cannot kill philodendrons, so I would recommend those.
I don't know. That's not a word. You just made that up.
It's a word, philodendron. Look it
I
up.
don't know. We got to give him a challenge. The plant link can keep alive some like very rare violet or something.
Something I get arrested for if it dies in my care.
That's right.
Yeah. You have something you can sign insurance for. But like what's really cool about PlantLink is they're like database of plants that they like know what needs what and the things that they have. Like that's their power. What's cool with PlantLink is you're gonna be able to
I was just another like when I mentioned before, like Kickstarter and certain things that I've ordered that when I get them, it's like, all right, some other company came out with this while I was waiting for this to come out, and it's 10 times better, and it is what it is. I don't really care, but on Apple for almost a year now, I feel like they've had a plant sensor, and not only does it do the moisture levels and have the database and everything, but it also senses other things like light and quality of the soil. So it must have sensors for a few other things. And it's like $130, I think, for each one.
Which one's that?
There's no hub, huh? Are you?
What are they called?
I can look up real quick while.
What was the Apple one that you were talking about?
It's obviously not from Apple. It was available through Apple, and I'm sure it's available on I'm blocking on the name. I think it starts with an F. But let me see.
One that connects.
There's a French one.
It's called Koubachi Wi-Fi plant sensor.
Oh,
yeah.
Koubachi. It's 130. And there's actually another one, Parrot Flower Power plant sensor for $60.
That's for the hippies.
They look that one's actually really cool. It looks like a little stick kind of coming out of the ground. But I mean, quite frankly, they're as or more capable. They don't need hubs. That's just one of those things. It is what it is.
Yeah, we got one of those.
They connect through Bluetooth Smart, 4.0 LE. Low energy connections through your, iPhone or Android, that ones that are capable of Android, like the Samsung S4. So those sensors are cool. And that would be really cool if we can connect those with SmartThings. That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's like what I love to do. That's the funnest part, really. And then there's like the only reason I was talking about like PlantLink is just cheap. Like it's going to be, not even near the price point. It should be much lower than that price point. And you can, if you have SmartThings, you should be able to just plug them, the pair straight to your SmartThings hub. So that's like a cool point like that. But then there's also like the Bluetooth stuff is very difficult because most of those times those Bluetooth devices were built to pair to their own phone app, right? And that's like, even if we had Bluetooth on the hub, and you have something like the Jawbone up, then that means we'd have to have feature parity with their iPhone app, which was designed for. That's just significant development time and things like that. And then there's also like Bluetooth doesn't mesh like the rest of the home automation protocols do. I like Bluetooth for a lot of stuff. I'm just not sure it's great for the home automation platform, other than direct integrations app to app, like within the phone.
So two other things that I've purchased that I can't use are, one's a Lockatron and one's an August. They're not compatible with any locks that I have, but I wanted them to see how they worked. And
you got your Lockatron already?
I didn't get the Lockatron yet. They supposedly are shipping, but
yeah.
Wait, did you get the August?
I didn't get the August yet either. That's not shipping till maybe a month or two, something like that. I don't know. They keep emailing me.
So we had August at the house. We had 2 August locks at the house.
That's what I was going to ask about. So that's Bluetooth, BLE. So how exactly does that work with SmartThings, does it work using your phone as a, so you have
Yes.
kind of have to be near it, and then it just kind of
Yes.
updates the system with your phone. So do you have to have,
Right.
if you have an iPhone, you have to have the app open?
I don't think you have to have it open. We can send the command, I think either way, depending on how their app is going to work. But what we do is we send it to their cloud platform, which sends it to their app.
Or you can send,
yeah.
I can just tape a Android tablet to the back of my door. Make
No,
it work.
seriously. At the house, we had to have
like, an Android device.
Yeah, we had to have an app up for each of the locks and send the devices that way. And I don't think that's not the ultimate way that we're going to do it. For the demo that we did last week, it was the way. I believe we're going to be working towards obviously a better, more cloud-to-cloud solution where you don't have to open the August app. We'll see.
Pat, I think you were going to say something.
No?
The August really looks great. I super want one. Ben, do you know if we came away with any of the August still, or do we have them at the office?
Oh, I don't know that they're at the office, but I bet we have those two that were at the event. I don't know. Ermin would know.
No,
The August guys took them back.
Oh,
Yeah,
jerks.
They came and pulled them out.
August is a great company. They share the same PR agency that we do, Ben. So calm down.
What does that mean?
It means
Pretty lame though
You
that they
love them.
took those back, considering you're working on implementing the August into your system. I mean, what could have possibly?
I agree because they were. I agree because they were super cool. Like they were like, oh, I love how they sounded, because the Z-Wave locks that we have right now, they're just like, like that's what they sound like. The August is just like this quick like you can't even hear it. I love it. I kind of wish I should have just kept them.
So how come did you guys have a booth last year at CES? You did, right? You were on the floor last year, right?
Yep.
How come and I know it's expensive, that might be the case, but how come you guys decided not to participate this year?
We actually had a booth this year too. Yeah. So last year we were inside the Zigbee pavilion, and it was funny. The Z-Wave people, they both offered us space within their pavilion, and there's about 20 companies in each of those spaces. And last year we went to Zigbee, and this year we went to Z-Wave, and it sort of came together at the last minute. 3 weeks ago or 3 weeks before the event, they're kind of like, we want to sponsor the house. Why don't we give you a discount on a booth space? So in addition to the house, we did have a booth space, and we had 2 or 3 people there every day, all the time, talking with people.
How many people did you actually get out to visit the house? I mean, I saw a few in Gadget and Bloomberg and a few others, but how many people actually took the 45-minute trip during CES?
Well, it was probably not 45 minutes, but it was definitely, we had double meetings most days, Monday through Friday. Friday was light, but Monday through Thursday for sure. We had either a media person or a potential partner or someone out there meeting with Alex or Jeff or Andrew, basically doubled up every time.
Wednesday night, it was elbow to elbow.
Oh yeah, we had an open house on Wednesday night and invited a lot of people there, so that was fun.
Well, I think Kate's right. I think some of the reporters, maybe it was the CNET report, said that we didn't have a presence at CES. Maybe we told them to get them out to the house.
Yeah, it might have been CNET. Yeah, one of them definitely said. That's why I asked.
The booth was actually fun. It's a real experience being on the floor at CES. And you get all kinds of interesting questions.
You get a lot of interesting people.
Yeah, I met a guy who claimed to be the Santa Claus of China. He knew which companies had been bad or good. I was like, that's a great description.
I love it.
That's weird.
He said he was a quality assurance person.
I think he was going to make introductions of who we needed to meet. But
when are you guys moving production in China?
I don't know.
What was the question?
When are we going to move production?
Electronics to China.
I'm not sure. We're working on different hardware and enclosures before we explore that stuff. So one of the reasons we chose here is because we manufacture out of a facility in Michigan, which is about 2 hours away from our hardware designer that we had at the time when we started, Andrew Starion. So it was really easy to check on runs, to do really quick changes, to go there and develop our level 2 programming jigs that we built for the line. What we're looking for right now is just some minor tweaks in the hardware that's going to make it easier to manufacture. Like an example that we use is the USB point. The USB port on like the SmartSense Motion, the motion sensor, has 4 solder points on it. So we're changing it to 2. And you know what? We did tests, like sturdiness tests on that. It came out fine. So that's where we kind of are in the hardware revs. And then we also manufacture our enclosures here as well at a company that's typically for smaller runs. So we kind of have to make some changes there, really slight changes before we can consider going overseas. And then we might just wait until we do V2 of our hub, just a completely different model.
With cellular service?
You mean like the very first beta prototype we had?
Yeah. Like the one that would make sense if your house actually does lose power. I don't think you're on.
Yes, dear.
Yes, dear.
Yes, dear.
Ah, it's so cute.
So oh shucks.
He's blushing. Look at him.
Yeah.
So yeah, the one that would make sense if your power goes out or you get water when moisture or something that would actually have saved Alex's house in the situation that started the company.
Yeah, I mean,
well, so
really.
Here's an interesting quick question. Here's a question that I have is, if you're somebody who wanted Kate, if you're someone who wanted a cellular backup for something, would you rather have it backed up at the router level or at the individual device level? So would you rather have a cellular backup for your entire network or just for the hub? Because it's going to cost a monthly fee either way.
Yeah. I mean, the hub that I have right now is from the one that comes from Comcast has a battery. Although when the power goes out in the house, I don't have anything other than my cell phone that would connect to, other than tablets and cell phones and stuff that would connect to it. And honestly, I've never paid attention to whether or not I had internet through that. Although I have a separate Wi-Fi, so no. Basically, it's useless to me. I'd rather it at the SmartThings level. I mean, if I really cared, I'd get like a UPC backup for stuff, but I don't really care enough to do that.
I mean, like the reason I asked is because it significantly increases the cost of the hardware, and we kind of don't want to be in the business of selling a $300 hub. I think that
Well, it'd be nice as an option. I'd say, and it would also kind of. So one of the things that SmartThings, I know that this is a liability, but the alarm. I mean, you're outfitting your house with sensors and door sensors and cameras and all these things. To have a service that is an alarm, that would contact you even if the power's out, would be nice. I know that's a liability for you guys if it doesn't work and someone gets raped or murdered.
Well, I think we actually now have a smart app that tells you if your hub goes offline. At least I've seen one.
It tells you if the hub's offline.
That's not. I've been saying that forever. That's the one thing that I don't think it's such a big deal anymore though, because when the power does go out, it comes back on. The hub actually connects. But when SmartThings was just a baby, it wouldn't reconnect, and it would just like if you were away, your hardware would be just out of commission for however long you were away, and that would have been nice to have that. I don't. It would still be nice to have that app, but I don't think it's as important now because really, even if you found out your power was out, there's really not too much you can do about it.
I mean, but just knowing that has benefit. So if Alex knew that his power was out, he could have potentially called a neighbor, asked them to check in on it or whatever. He didn't even know his power was out.
None of my neighbors. I don't know if Alex hands out keys, but I don't. And if your hub's off and your power's out, then you can't let them in remotely either, really. That kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Well, you could though, right? If you had a backup for your hub.
If you have kids, that might be good to know. Like if you had kids lying around the house and there's no power, that might be nice to know. In my situation, I don't think. I mean, I'm in an apartment building, so it's not something that,
Herman, we should make some recommendations on ways to add cellular and battery backup, and even like a little Wi-Fi dongle that does Ethernet to Wi-Fi. Because a lot of that stuff is really
what we've been using is a Cradlepoint router with like a Verizon or an AT&T or whatever USB thing in there. You can pick up these routers for cheap now. Like they're just like $100 or something like that, and then you just plug in your prepaid data thing, and it'll only go charge you if you have the prepaid thing if you're using it. So what we've been using is like. Even at the house that we had, where we had full internet, we had backup networks just in case that were ran on like a Verizon LTE network. That we just had these cradle points, around the house where just little USB thing plugged in there, and they work really well. Like we were getting like 15 down from them.
I have another thing that I purchased that is Almond Plus. Are you guys familiar?
I saw that last year at CES.
Yeah.
So have you guys been talking?
Are they launching yet?
They keep pushing it back.
I don't think it was so yet.
But it looks really cool, and I haven't updated my router in like a year just because the original ship date wasn't that bad, and then they keep pushing it back, and now I'm just sitting here with some Belkin piece of junk. It's not. I mean, it works.
Well, isn't the Almond going to be an AC router anyway?
That's I have some AC stuff now, and I'd like to get there. I have just right now some Belkin 2.4 5 gigahertz dual band N router, nothing special, but by the time they launch that, something else is gonna come along. It's like what I said all the time.
Yeah,
but
that's like always the case, right? Like no matter what, like when you buy something, 6 months is out of date.
I think I'm just
cool,
I'm going to launch something every other month and just send it to Cade, and I can make a living off of them.
It sounds like it.
I only buy things I can't use. I have a 3D printer coming soon, and that I'll probably be out of commission for like a few months, just printing up all kinds of things I don't need.
Which one?
The Rigid Bot.
I got one off Kickstarter called the Cubed.
Okay, I'm familiar.
That's the little one?
I got it already. I haven't had time to assemble it yet, though.
That's the little one?
That's what I'm worried about. This thing's gonna come. I almost felt like paying the extra bit to have them, because that's an option. You can actually still like pay them and they'll assemble it for you. But
what size is it, Herman?
What size? I don't know. Off the top of my head, it was just like the Kickstarter thing. I was like, Kickstarter. Like Ben is a Kickstarter addict. I know. Just like me.
I was for so long.
I'm recovering.
Yeah.
No, you're not. I got just like a Kickstarter. I got a Kickstarter package from you yesterday, man.
Well, that was from a long time ago, though. There's like a big delay in Kickstarter. So like a year ago, I was a big Kickstarter. Now I'm getting all the stuff. I just wanted to say, it's like Christmas, really. I don't know what's coming. It's just, oh, look at this. I forgot about that.
I was away on vacation when the Ubi came. I was so excited. Although I really want the Ubi UBE to come because that looks really cool. That like the gesture control, being able to like, swipe with 2 fingers or draw a letter and then control something specific. Just really like for now that I have the house outfitted with hue bulbs, being able to draw a C on there and change the color of the bulbs without having to open an app is that's what I really wanted. But now the integration with SmartThings would be cool as well. Saying goodbye or something like that. Writing a G on there and having the house shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah, but why not just have the house shut down automatically?
Because if it does that, you can show your friends that you swipe the wall, and it's almost more of a wow factor than it just like turning off behind you.
I think it's totally cool. I think it's totally awesome. I'm gonna do a lot of cool. I got 2 of them.
You have 2 Ubis?
Yeah, I got 2 of them. I can't wait.
Oh, they didn't come yet. Fair enough.
So, right, yeah. So, Jeff asked about local LAN and IP stuff. So, the things you see, the Wemo integration, the Philips Hue, and the Sonos integration are all local LAN IP. Mm-hmm. So, all we have to do for now is do what we're really good at and document things. Oh, wait, that's not us.
How come you went with local IP there?
I'm choking over here. I'm choking bad.
How come you went with local IP?
We're
Hold on.
Sorry.
How come you went with local IP on those and you went with, or you didn't go with it on the Hue?
Well, no, the Hue's a LAN local IP integration.
Yeah. We did that with, when you use their hub, you can do that. Now, Ermin, can you tell me what the state is on the direct to the bulb connection? Are we still trying to do that, or are we not? Right now. Well, I mean, I know that it's doing it. That's the way I prefer to do it because I don't like hubs sitting everywhere. But was there an issue with that?
There is an issue with that, and it's the colors, the exact colors, matching that and like getting feature parity. The other issue is I haven't figured out how to unpair the bulbs.
Isn't there a difference between Zigbee and then like the Zigbee Lite and right?
Yeah, Lightlink and HA. So they use using Lightlink and we use HA.
Okay, so you just happen to be using the right Zigbee protocol.
Right. So no, we're using Zigbee Home Automation. They're using Zigbee Lightlink. Yeah. And there's quite a bit of interplay in between the two. They use, they call it clusters, which is like, groups of commands. There's quite a bit of interplay in between them. So we can do things like control the color, things like that. What we can't do is do like the open remove of bulbs that are no longer on the network, which is basically what we need to take the bulbs off of a current network and bring them onto ours. So that's our only holdup right now. But it's really cool. Like I have, the bulbs connected straight to my SmartThings hub without, their bridge. But I also have their bridge for testing and things like that. And they do a lot of good things. I actually like their latest iOS update. I think it looks nice. I think it's cool like that.
I like what Ben's saying right now.
FOSCAM?
Yeah.
Yeah, so FOSCAM is going to be another Labs integration. That's going to be a local LAN thing where we're sending things through the hub.
I like what Danny did with it in the DC office, the door.
Yeah, but so the thing that Danny's integration is super awesome. But Danny, did you have to punch a hole into the network for it?
Yeah, exactly. And so the next iteration is going to be local LAN. And there's a couple things left to be done on it, but I'm sure it'll be a labs release coming out soon.
Yeah, and it's also stills, right? It's just stills only.
Right, and so that's important, and that's all we're going to feature. But I think that that's probably what you want ultimately when you're trying to capture events, things like that.
A lot of people do ask me about like live video in the app, and I don't have a great answer for them. I tell them it's not on the backlog, or it's not on the current iterations. It's on the backlog, but not like currently planned for.
So what we're trying to look at right now is which streaming we have to use libraries for. Again, we're gonna get flagged for it, but it's gonna be like an iOS first launch probably, most likely if it happens. So we're looking at what libraries we need a license for live streaming. We can't just build these libraries ourselves. We have to license one that's currently there. And that's kind of coming up like something with like an integration with like the Doorbot, where you can get like a live stream of who's at your door, or same with other things like that. It's also very heavy on the bandwidth, so that might be a different kind of tier of smart things that you'd have. It's really up in the air. It's all being talked about. Nothing's been decided, which means we're obviously looking at feedback from customers right now.
How many users, I don't know if this is proprietary information, how many users have you guys added since your initial Kickstarter backers? Are you like, how many users are you now?
Like we've like doubled since then, I think.
I think we've done more than that, actually. I can look.
Are you picking up each month?
At our counts.
Well, we had a really good holiday season. It was a very big spike. A lot of those people actually haven't even come online yet. They've received their kits, but they haven't like installed it, which is weird. We're eagerly awaiting like those numbers to go up, and by March we really want to average what we did in December, which was really good business, I think.
It's funny because we had in let's say September, we had about 1,000 or a little over 1,000 hubs offline, and we were like, why haven't these hubs been activated yet? It was irking us. Everyone was like, we need to find out. So we emailed a lot of these users to find out. It's just like, I got it as a gift. It's a gift, or I'm getting it for this guy, or I'm taking it from my vacation house. I just haven't set it up yet. We're going there for Christmas. We're like, please activate already, because we're like losing our minds.
We can't.
But we have a lot of We want to, we have to sell. We have to give all of our data to the Department of Game and Fish. That's my joke.
Yeah.
It's not a very good one. But we have a ton of developers. We have like 5,000 signed up developers that are doing their own thing. That a lot of them aren't even participating in things like build. I think we have over like 50,000 devices out there. Like 180,000 smart apps installed.
When are the
a lot of people, some people go on.
I was saying, when are the things that you can see on builds and like the private apps that people make? It would be really cool to have like a secondary lab for being able to scroll through those and like add those tests.
Yeah, so that's like something like that. That's a full-time job, because someone needs to go through all of that code and make sure there's no security implications, no offsite loading of data, everything that complies within our strict privacy rules and terms of use, things like that. So it's like a full-time use. It's not just something we can stick an intern on, even if we wanted to. Somebody's got to manage all that.
That aside, I mean, it is a priority for us to get the ability for smart app developers to publish outside of just their home. We want you guys to be able to publish your apps, your cool apps, to the community so they can be used, and then improve our browsing capabilities for smart apps in general. So I don't know when that's going to happen. I was just talking with Tyler today about why Zendesk wasn't telling us when a certain feature was coming out, and he said because they're a good company. And I thought that was funny because it's hard to we want to put time frames around these things, but we also don't want to miss these time frames. And so I just know that it's my number one priority for as far as helping support the developer community. I think it's cool just from a sharing perspective. So that's the first thing. It's like I made this smart app, it's cool, and I want to share it. And then secondarily, and further down the line, I want to monetize that. Maybe I think it's worth $5. So I made this smart app and I want to charge it.
That 30% would pay for that person to scroll, scan.
Yeah. We just need a bit more rigor to put around it. Yeah.
So it's a trade-off. We have to have the customers for developers who want to monetize on them to get here, right? We can't just. It's hard to entice developers who want to make money like they would on the App Store to come to our growing user base. And it's growing very fast. We're very happy with it, and we're going to continue to grow with it. But
you're gonna, at least at first, you're not gonna get developers. I don't think it's not. I don't think you have enough users to make it worth it for them. Fiscally.
Right. That's
so
what
it's gonna
right.
be
No, that's what I'm
them
saying. Right.
developing because they want it, and hey, maybe I can also make money on this while I already created it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, we have to appeal to the non-developer community to get the developers here, and that's a trade-off that's I struggle with because like we haven't been granted documentation. It's hard to commit developer time to the documentation when we need to grow our user base first to really entice developers that want to monetize on the SmartThings platform.
Well, there's another perspective to that. That there are developers out there that are probably waiting for the storefront. So if they do create something, they can realize that monetization, as you say, instead of just
right. And that's like you, Todd, right? That's like exactly what you're doing with us and things like that. And I know we talked about it.
Right now, it's kind of homebrew, you know.
Right.
It is, and that's like so we're looking at technical writers to just really go over our documentation from the bottom up and really make it what it really needs to be. If you look at Dropcam's support site, I really think it's fantastic. It looks really good. It's easy to use. So we're looking at things like that. Ben can talk about the build platform because I actually want to hear what he has to say about it.
Oh, you are a jerk.
But really,
yeah, Ben, help us out there. It's not that user friendly. You can't even edit your entries sometimes. Sometimes you can.
All right, this sounds like a good place to stop recording. We're at the hour and a half mark, and I do actually want to wrap the recording part up, but we can continue on, and I will obviously talk about build now, but I'm gonna stop that, and we can pick up next week too.
Okay.